I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. A former Bunnell police officer is arrested on a probation violation just 2 weeks after he's freed from prison on child porn charges. Michael Stavros of Palm Coast was initially handcuffed in 2014 on 2 counts of possession of child porn. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 years in prison, followed by 5 years probation. Part of the terms of his probation forbid him from social media, but sheriff's deputies learned he may have created a Facebook account under a fictitious name, so a probation officer confiscated Stavros' cell phone and determined he used it to access, maintain, and upload photos to Facebook, which is expressly forbidden under the terms of his probation. Stavros is now back behind bars.
This portion of Flagler's Morning News brought to you by the Daytona Beach International Airport, Delta Airlines nonstop to Atlanta, and starting in May, nonstop flights to New York City via American Airlines.
Looking to shoot a movie in Bunnell? There's now rules governing that. John Arking has more.
The city of Bunnell now has an ordinance regulating the commercial shooting or making of a motion picture, television, music video, videotape, or film production utilizing city equipment or city facilities. That's after the City Commission Monday approved the Bunnell Motion Picture Photography Production Ordinance to establish regulations and a permitting process for motion picture photography production endeavors on public property owned or controlled by or under the jurisdiction of the city. The ordinance creates a Bunnell Film Office, which City Manager Alvin Jackson says will work in tandem with the State Film Commission in Tallahassee to bring jobs and economic development.
It can be a great economic development marketing tool because when movie producers realize that our city actually has an ordinance, it makes us a lot more attractive.
The ordinance also covers those productions on private property involving the erection of tents or other temporary structures or involving the use of pyrotechnics, explosives, or other incendiary devices. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arking.
We've talked for days about a law that would do away with impact fees on affordable housing. But do you really want affordable housing next door?
That's the question that some have brought up when State Senator Travis Hudson discussed the issue of affordable housing with those in Flagler, Volusia, and St. Johns counties, which he represents.
The local governments and the businesses need to get together. We've punted all growth management now from the state to the locals. So I'm just trying to figure out what tools I can give the locals to be a little bit more flexible so that they can make those decisions should they want them in their community.
Hudson said that some places in the state already waive impact fees for affordable housing projects. He wants Senate Bill 350 to pass so that it's common throughout Florida. Tomorrow, more on the impact fees for affordable housing. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
A Bunnell man catches burglars in the act at his home while he's out of state. Larry Mills was in Lexington, Ohio when he called 911 to dispatch deputies to his Oleander Drive home. He says he received a notification about movement inside his home. When he opened up his home security app, he spotted 2 teens prowling inside his home. Deputies say they located 2 juveniles nearby who fessed up to breaking into Mills's home. 15-year-old Corey Robbins and 17-year-old Easton Perez were charged with felony burglary and released to their parents. 2 buildings in Bunnell are added to the National Historic Register of Places. Tony Magoo has the details.
New on that list are the Coquina City Hall at 200 South Church Street, which was built in 1936 and 37 as part of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal. The New Deal was an attempt by the president to bring America out of the Great Depression. The Bunnell Water Tower at 100 Utility Street is the city's tallest landmark. The tower was part of modernization of the city's water utility, and part of that project, built in 1926, was a reservoir building and a pumping station. That tower, that holds about 70,000 gallons of water, is still in use by the city. Orlando historian Randy J. is recognized for his persistence in applying for and receiving these listings. The city will show their gratitude to Mr. J. at the next City Commission meeting on March 11th. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.